I'm George Boston Rhymes, and I'm down at 1401 South Troop Street. Correction, North Troop Street. And I'm here because I care. I just received an email from Mayor Gale, and he just said that this building will be demolished, that the people who owns it will soon have an insurance settlement, and that this property may be put up for sale to some community organization. And that's good. If you check this YouTube channel, you will find that I stood in front of this building and I talked about the jail deaths. I had people from this community that I interviewed who gave their story. And their story was not our story. But they knew of the jail deaths that had taken place before this young man was shot in the back of his head. And so I want to say to you now that what got me out here on this location today was not any of my videos that I have recorded in front of this building. What got me out here today was not the mayor's email. It was not because I have been addressing the issues and talking about how the news media ignores problems in the black community, or that we are leading the state of Georgia in jail deaths, or that we have a speed trap over on Clay Road, or that a man was ran over on Oak Street Extension and nothing has been done to correct that deep ditch over there on Oak Street Extension. Not because citizens to be heard are at the end of the agenda as if though nobody wants to hear from the people in this community. That's not why I'm here today. The reason I'm standing here today and cutting this video or movie is because I want the community to know Councilman James Wright should not stand alone. I have watched him call for the local ministers and the pastors and other leaders in this community to step up to the plate and go beyond the rhetoric of talking and condemning our young children who have their pants down, among many other things that they are doing. Too often, like Councilman Wright, I'm disappointed in men like me, retired military veterans, retired police officers, retired educators, retired mothers and fathers from other areas of our community. I'm tired. And so I want this community to know, you got James Wright on city council. He's trying to do his best, and he should not have to stand alone. You, and I do mean you who fill the churches, you who fill the synagogues, you who fill the temples, you who fill the masjid on the WD side of the house in dealing in Islam. What do you say about this? You got a councilman, he's the only councilman. I'm not criticizing anyone, but Jesus said, and ye shall know the truth, and that the truth shall set and make you free. But if James Wright is standing up, trying to bring about some change outside of what we hear all the time, if you remember, James Wright refused to go to the retreat because he was concerned about the people in his community. Now we know there are many people in the community don't even give a damn about their own community. They don't care. That's the age we're living in. Many black men don't care about nothing anymore but the destructive devices that are in our community that's destroying us. And we did not get where we are today by killing one another, injuring one another, hating one another. We as black folk didn't do that. So there's something wrong in our community. And it don't start down here. It starts from the head down. Our minds are messed up. We don't care about one another. If we cared about one another, then we will meet the needs of our brothers and our sisters, and that go beyond the pigmentation of one's skin and kin and religious persuasion. Jesus said it best, my beautiful brothers and sisters. Love thy neighbor as you love yourself. And if you don't love your neighbor as you love yourself, you don't really love yourself. Because somewhere I read that we are all of the seed of Abraham. And so as Councilman Wright stands up, as Lindsay Mobley stand up for what the preachers of yesterday used to stand up for, if they stand up yesteryear, if Bishop Mason stood up yesterday, that we, the young people of yesterday, could have a future. What's wrong with us standing up to make it better for our children and grandchildren? Now, we know a lot of the young black boys today are lost. We can't save them. It's too late for them. Their minds are too messed up. But we have a responsibility to take those children who want to be something in life, who don't want to be in the jails and prisons and death row. Those young children who want to be something, is our responsibility to work and make them be something. But the ones who don't want to be nothing, we should help the law enforcement to incarcerate them or whatever it takes. But we got to save our people. We came to these shores in the year 1555 aboard a slave ship called Jesus, captained by one Sir John Hawkins, a slave trader. We have been through too much to watch the destruction of our most precious resource. And that is our right young people who want something in God's word. And so I want to say, the reason I cut this video is to put it on YouTube, to let everybody know across the United States of America that all ministers of Jesus Christ have turned their backs on their people. We have not turned our backs on our people just to get money in a collection plate or to pump ourselves up with some title. I'm Bishop so-and-so and so. I'm Evangelist so-and-so and so. I'm Prophetess so-and-so and so and so. But what are you doing to save the heartbeat of our people? What are you doing to save the heartbeat of our young people? And I'm the criticized first, because I'm not doing what I need to do. So I'm not downing anybody outside of myself. When we look around and look at the unemployment rate among black folk, it's the highest in the nation, highest that we ever seen it in the history of since our sojourn to the Western world. And so now the time has come. You don't see where the Valdosta Daily Times walk through this community and interview the actual homeowners about what's going on in their community or any other news media. It seems as if though, unless somebody in Atlanta, Chicago, New York, or Omaha, Nebraska, or some other country, a community, come in here and set up a newspaper, set up a TV station, who will come out and interview us, the real people, who are concerned about Section 3 and trying to find and use some of these federal dollars so black folk can get jobs. All black folk don't want to sit down and not work. Some black folk want to work. I know we got those who don't want to work. They rather say a crack, they rather do this or they rather do that. But there are many of us who want to work, want to be respected, don't want to go to jail, don't want to be in prison, don't want our children killed on the street. There are some of us who want to be something, and we want to see something for our children. And so we who want something out of life should live or die trying to have something that our children can live. And so I'm going to close this out now. But I want the people in Valdosta to understand something. James Wright said to the mayor, you have told me things before. You and Larry Hanson, the city manager, have made promises before. But you didn't come through with them. Now, I don't know about what James Wright talked about with the mayor, But what I do know is that Mr. John Robinson and myself talked about Section 3. We talked about hiring people in the economically oppressed areas in the Hudson Docket area, in Orly West particular, but there are other Section 3 and HUD areas, that there are monies coming into this community that was directed for the poor folk that the poor folk don't get. Now call me a liar if you want to, it's okay. I traveled twice to 40 Marietta Street in Atlanta on behalf of the people here in Valdosta. But you don't know nothing about all of that because we do not have a news media outlet that is concerned enough to publish what is being done in your community by some of the best citizens in your community. So you don't know nothing about that. All the things that came up before City Council, dealing with the jail, they're dealing with Clay Road, dealing with citizens being at the end of the agenda, dealing with the library and how people have to look at the back of board members at the library at a public meeting, talking about the pipes on Troop Street and the conditions on Troop Street, talking about Forest Street and how our children have to walk in the streets, talking about the Quitman 10 and how valuable information was totally ignored, talking about the Madison 9, 8 of them, 7 of them, the cases was dismissed, but you don't know nothing about that because we don't have a news media here. When the Lake Park closed down, we become totally ignorant to what goes on. The only thing get published in newspapers for the most part, and on local news media here in South Georgia, is what those in the clique and among the slicks won't report it. And so we don't know what's going on. And we got to understand that we give home to Moody Air Force Base, where our sons and daughters depart to go die for this country if need be, for the freedoms and the rights of foreigners, while our rights are being denied here in the homeland. And we are at the end of the agenda at most all governmental meetings in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia. And what is most sickening about it is that the preachers and the teachers and the lawyers and the doctors don't say nothing about it. It is as if though we're living in 1800s. But I'm going to continue to join with Councilman Wright. I don't care if Councilman Yopes, Councilman White, who's a white female, over District 2, if they don't say anything, if they sit there and make James Wright look stupid, we know he's not stupid. We know that they criticize Dr. King. They criticize Noble Drew Ali. They criticize Malcolm X. They criticize Al Sharpton. They had to criticize Jesse Jackson. And the President of the United States, he can't do nothing right. He is the only person that God created on this planet can't do nothing right in the eyes of some of the modern day Christians and reverse patriots. And so somebody got to speak. Somebody got to let somebody know that God is still on the throne, keeping watch over his own. And I don't mind it. I don't mind saying what I'm saying. And if anybody can condemn me for what I'm saying, please come forth. I want to interview you in front of the camera. I want you to condemn me on what I'm saying. Any pastor in this community, any rabbi in this community, any sheikh in this community, anyone in any religion, if you can deny what I'm speaking, please call me 229-251-8645. I repeat, 229-251-8645. And let's sit behind the camera and talk about it, and let's share that with the people who will be listening to this tape. I came out here because, once again, because of the email I just read that was sent to me and many other community leaders from the Mayor Gale, who said that this building, 1401, will be demolished, but they're waiting to get paid from the insurance company. So somebody gonna benefit even from the destruction of this building. And so I just want to leave this with you. Lindsey Mobley is standing up, and I respect him. People try to make him look stupid, just like they did Dr. King and others. James Wright is going to be looked down upon, if not fought against, in his struggle to bring about change in his beloved community. And I'm here to say that Councilman Wright was on the NAACP, and he fought like hell. And when he got on city council, it seemed like to me, he forgot his community. I don't think he really forgot. I think he was trying to find his niche in terms of how to bring about real change. And I think he found that method now. And that method is what Jesus said. And that is to speak the truth. Because without truth, there can be no freedom. And so now I want to close with a conclusion. As you go to church Sunday, and as you look at what's happening in our communities, ask yourself, please wrestle with your own conscience. What good is your religion if your religion can only put you behind four walls of a church and sing in the choir and come out on Sunday and be an usher or be a deacon and clap your hand and say praise God, hallelujah to the highest? But when it comes down to the natural world of informing your children that they got to get an education, that they got to stay out of the hands of law enforcement, that they got to learn how to live with each other even in their own homes. And if you're living in a domestic situation, you resolve the problem. Why you call the police? Don't call it police. You police yourself in your community. Because when you call the police is going to charge you money that's going to cost your family, your husband, and your wife, and your family money. And when you get it back together, that's a fine you got to pay. When all you had to do was depart for a while, turn your head away from self-pride, and learn how to love each other. And when you love each other, you won't destroy each other. You won't seek to kill each other. Don't let nobody fool you when when people tell you I love you. And if a person don't love his neighbor, and then you talking about this person want to go out with you and have sex with you, how can they sex you up and they don't even love you? That's a game being, even the animals of the field do better than that. Wake up. Wake up. Something is happening in our world. It don't have to be like this. But when the church go to sleep, when the mosque go to sleep, when the synagogue go to sleep, Jesus said that they supposed to be the salt of the earth. But if the church go to sleep, if the mosque go to sleep, and if the temples of all these good, great worthies go to sleep, then the wicked will take control. That's what has happened. Don't have to be that way. I know some of you all just waiting till you die so you go to heaven, where angels flying all around. But go back to the book of Genesis. Go back or go down in the woods among the animals of the field. Look at the birds. They are still flying. They are still taking on the responsibilities of raising their little children, their little eggs, until they become birds. Look at the hogs and the dogs and all the other animals in nature, and the little fleas and the bees and the bumblebee. They all are doing what they're supposed to do. But there's a chemical imbalance in our head. And we're sick. We are sick. And we need some medication. And that medication is the truth. We need somebody to stand up and speak truth outside. You don't have to speak from the Bible all the time. Most people can read today. Unlike yesterday, the Bible is not hidden today as if though people can't read. We can read, many of us can read and interpret the Bible better than the preacher. Far better than the bishop. And perhaps better than the Pope. Except for those secret books that he took from our ancestors and got them hidden beneath the Vatican that he don't want the world to know about. But the Bible tells us that I would that no man teach you, for you shall have an unction from the Holy One, and he will teach you all things. So stop looking so much for a teacher. Align yourself with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Align yourself with the truth of the universe and live so your children can live. Once again, thank you, Brother Councilman Wright. Even as black councilman, Peyton can't see where you coming from. If black councilman Sonny Vickers can't see where you coming from, and if you can see, we thank God for you for being able to see. Because we know in the days of Ezekiel, Ezekiel was the only one that was able to see a valley that was full of bones and needed to be resurrected. We understand that when the sons of God was going to present themselves before the Lord, only Job was worthy to have his eyes open and was able to stand on God's side. And when the hypocrites, those religious leaders, tried to walk in before the ECP God, he was spotted out. Because you cannot even fool the common man today, let alone those who are called and chosen and elected, and if necessary, even to die for protecting the Ark of the Covenant of this dispensation. And so I want to say to you once again, let us be what God has made us. Let us walk like real children of God. Let's stop hypocrites. And I'm first in the mix. Let us stand up and let us do what is right. Because the time is now. If we don't do it now, I'm sorely afraid it will never be done. Let us remember Galatians 6 and 7. That's a white European to the Galatians. Paul said, God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. So if the preachers are sowing fear, because that's what lives inside of his house, if fear is what dwelling in our places of worship, if fear is what drives us and motivates us and keep us backing up from our own people, then what say we? And what are we going to tell Jesus? Jesus gave his all in all so we could have it all. Once again, my name is George Boston Rhymes. And I want you to know that all followers of Jesus Christ are not living in fear. All followers of Jesus Christ don't just preach in a church building and fail to attend city and county commissioners meetings and other meetings in the community. All followers of God have not chosen to sit down and talk about how good Moses was, Ezekiel and the rest of them. But they are working, not like you, and I'm not down in what you do. I know you do a good work. I commend the pastors, by the way. I commend all the ministers of Jesus Christ and other religions as well for all the good that you do. You do much more than I do. But my little small part, I gotta do. And I know many of you all say you wasn't called to do this. Well, it seems strange in the black experience, in the bygone years, the religious community was the heartbeat of the civil rights movement. People called on the preachers and they respect the preachers even among higher than the politicians. But today, the religious leaders are viewed by the general public at the bottom of the totem pole. I'm not creating that. Those are the statistics. We can go to church all we want. But if 60% of the Christian marriages are ending up in divorce, it's higher than that now, I think, then we don't have it all. We don't have all the answers. Once again, I do this because I don't want James Wright and I don't want Lindsey Mobley to go down the road as so many other black leaders who stood up and they labeled them all kind of dirty names. They tried to make the people that stand up look like a garbage can. They'll call them racist. They'll call them a lot of dirty names. But we who know them, we respect them like we do the Quitman 10 and the Madison 9. But yet they are those who play the game with us because we're living in a state of ignorance. I'm gonna close this up for real now. Bye-bye, we gone.